And thank you, everyone, for making this happen. So, before I talk about my research, I have a few questions for the audience. Think about yourself and your gender. Do you feel more feminine, more masculine, a third gender like Hijra or Two-Spirit? More than one, none at all? However you feel, does this reflect in how you act or hold yourself? Now, I'm my own version of woman. That's fine. I'm a proud mother, but I don't feel particularly gendered inside. I do realize every now and then that, yeah, I act like a woman, but I do also adopt a few masculine traits to get ahead professionally. Now, I study the creative expression of gender in pre-modern Japanese performing arts. Specifically, No in the 15th century. That may sound extremely foreign. I might have lost a few of you, but I'm going to try to show you how elements can really seem familiar. Oh, I'm sorry. The shogun who built the temple I just showed, can I get back? The 15th century in Japan was a time of opulence and ostentation. The shogun who built this temple was also a patron of No performers, including Zeami, who was active in many artistic ways. He was a performer, but also a playwright and a theorist. He wrote plays that incorporated many previous genres of literature and set them to complex rhythms and included popular dances, all to please his patrons. Take a look at the mask in this picture. Many of you may think it looks scary, which is understandable considering the blackened teeth, the plucked eyebrows, and the ghostly white makeup. But this was an ideal of feminine beauty at the time. And here you have a warrior, a manly man, but also a ghost. Now, taking on the appearance of a character is the first step towards becoming that character, but it's also very important to hold yourself and behave like that character when you're performing on stage. And in secret theoretical texts that Zeami wrote for only his heirs, he described how to perform many different kinds of characters. About femininity, he wrote to be passive, but rich emotionally. Does that sound familiar? So women are passive and emotional, or good at emotional labor. About warriors, he wrote, they're active, but literally crush emotions. He's describing destructive dominance, insensitivity, and emotional neglect. Oh, I'm not very good at this yet. Now, I would like to make a difference between received notions and creative expression. I argue that Zeami received the notions that men are active and women passive. His patrons had certain ideas about how women and men should act, and Zeami took that as the starting point for his characters. But that does not mean that all No plays are one or the other. These are extremes. But before I make any more generalizations, I'd like to mention that I am in the humanities. Who else here is in the humanities? These are my people. We in the humanities work a lot with case studies. We read texts, we look at images, we talk to people. There are other things we do, but we like to draw generalizations from there. And we all know the limits, though, of case studies. And so I'm learning how to analyze large groups of texts using computers. And in doing so, I sometimes get to work with my partner, who is a biologist, and does similar things with DNA and protein sequences, which are in the end also strings of letters. So take a look at this graph. Here you see the number of passive verb endings in 282 no plays, divided into 3 categories: women, warriors, and everything else. The dots represent individual plays, and the box plots show you the median on other percentiles. Interestingly, it's not the women plays that have all the passive verb endings, but the warrior plays. And to understand that, I would like to take a look at one no play with 14 passive verb endings. The play is Kagekyo, about a warrior of the same name from the Genpei War in the 12th century. In the play, the war is long over. Kagekyo's daughter comes looking for him. He has been banished to a faraway land after his side lost the war. He is ashamed when his daughter finds him, and initially says he has never seen Kagekyo. He is blind. However, that action is also insensitive to his daughter's efforts to find him. A nearby villager clears up the misinformation, and Kagekyo then tells a story of his prowess in the battle at Yashima, reminiscing about his aggression. Finally, the two part ways again. Now, the passive verbs in this play are banished and exiled, hated by former enemies and current neighbors, and visited by his daughter. So although this play describes a stereotypically masculine warrior, it also shows this character as grieving the loss of his physical prowess and dependent on the help and kindness of others. I guess I'll always get back to case studies to check my data. If we had more time, I would love to tell you about the femininity of aristocratic men like Toru, the strength and bravery of women warriors like Tomoe, and then I could talk about supernatural beings and the power of goddesses. More recently, I'm interested in the spirits of plants and their ability to achieve Buddhist enlightenment, but those are all topics for other science slams. Welcome to the world of No. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.